Hey friends, this is Worm, and there are a couple of additional points I want to address in regards to yesterday's video. I know a lot of people did not like the take that I had on that. I didn't really like that take either, but it is also kind of the truth. But I think there are also some other things that we're going to cover that need to be talked about as well. Stuff that I thought of, laying in bed last night and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's talk about those things. Number one, of course, one of the reasons why Bungie had all these layoffs was because they said that Destiny 2 failed to meet the projections. Now, something that I didn't even consider yesterday is how much those projections were. And that number is actually very, very important because, of course, Bungie saying, oh, well, player retention was at an all-time low, and that's the reason why we had to fire everybody, because Destiny wasn't making money. But wasn't making money, or they didn't say wasn't making money. They said didn't meet projections. What are those projections? I tried Googling it earlier, and I couldn't find much information on it. But let's take a nice round number here. Let's say $1 million. And I know that that's probably really low, but let's say $1 million is the normal number that Bungie goes with, right? So Witch Queen, they said our projection was $1 million. Lightfall, our projection was $1 million. Shadowkeep, our projection was $1 million, right? $1 million. If we go under 45% under that, that's like what, 550,000? That is a loss, right? But again, we don't know that projections number. Could Bungie's could corporate Bungie have estimated that number to be 1.5 million, right? The projection was 1.5 million and they only made $1 million, right? So Witch Queen was $1 million, Shadowkeep was $1 million, Beyond Light was $1 million, but then Lightfall was 1.5 million. You ask me, I don't think that would be very fair, right? I don't think that would be fair at all, but that's a possibility that we have to acknowledge as well. Like, until Bungie says, hey, here's what we were projecting, it's possible that they could have over projected by a lot, right? Which is that's really kind of a shame if that's the case, but that's a reality. Again, we didn't think about it yesterday, but we didn't address it yesterday in the video, but we did think about it later on that evening. So I wanted to put that thought out there. But also a commenter on yesterday's video by the name of Captain Rex, I actually pinned his comment in that video. He made a very good point that I was trying to convey, but I did not really do a good job of it. And he just came straight out, or she maybe came straight out and said it. But yesterday, the title of yesterday's video was way too strong. I said players are to blame. Captain Rex, in his comment, he said, players, while they are at fault, players are not to blame, right? And I think that he addressed that more perfectly in that one sentence than I was able to do in that, however long that video was, that 20 or 30 minute video, right? He said that players, he agrees that players are at fault, but the fault is not, or the blame is on Bungie, right? And the difference between fault and blame, this is a key component here. Fault is a neutral word, right? When you have a car accident, somebody's at fault. Doesn't mean there's ill will, doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that somebody is at fault. Somebody caused the wreck, right? But blame is a negative term. Blame is whenever you're pushing, it's being pushed on something. It doesn't just fall into something, it's being pushed, right? And Bungie, it sounds to me like Bungie yesterday tried to blame the player base. And that's where that video came from. Was Bungie, putting the blame on the player base. And that's, in my opinion, that's not fair, right? Because the player base responded. We said, no, we're not to blame. You are to blame. And I agree, Bungie is to blame. Bungie's aggressive microtransactions, Bungie's nickel and diming of the community to support basically 2 games, right? Destiny and Marathon, right? That's as well as just general weak content is what cause players to not buy Lightfall, to not play the game as much, that cause those numbers to drop. So we can say that, players are at fault. If players had put more money into Destiny, nobody would have been fired. That's a fact, right? That is an inarguable fact. If players had put more money into Destiny 2, the whole thing that happened this week wouldn't have happened. But Bungie is the one who is to blame for that. Not Destiny 2 players. Again, I apologize for yesterday's video. Like that title was really aggressive, and I'm not gonna change it. I don't change titles very often. I don't change titles just because I was wrong or I made a mistake, unless it's a typing error, obviously. But we're gonna keep that title the same. But just know that Bungie is are the ones to blame for what's happened, right? Players at fault, Bungie is to blame. But anyways, it's my wife's birthday. It's a super short video today because I'm about to go in there and hang out with her. Yeah, we're 6 days apart. But yeah, send her your happy birthday wishes and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's it for me, guys, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.